Hi, so we're group one, Alexis, Bill, Nick, and Nicole. So I'm Alexis, and I'll be presenting what not to do in an interview. So first, you don't want to be clueless about the job you're applying for, the company that you're applying to, because it just seems like you're unprepared and you're not confident, like you don't know what you're doing. Maybe like you don't really want the job. So then why would, they want to consider you? And then also, you don't want to lack enthusiasm. So, in one of the articles that I used from Indeed.com, they said that some of their interviewees had like low energy and were just really boring and dry. And I mean, this is, your chance to showcase like your skills and what you can bring to the job and what you bring to the table. And so this is your chance to do that. And you don't want to, be non enthusiastic or boring. And then this one's really important. So don't fidget. So a lot of people crack their knuckles or will, tap the table, click pens, play with their hair and like just fidget because they're, maybe nervous. But, again, like I said, this is showcasing you and you're the star of this interview. And, you know, I think, being anxious kind of like makes you seem again unprepared and um, as maybe like unnerving to the interviewer. And yeah, you don't want to seem nervous about it. Um, and then also don't bring up money too soon. So normally there will be like an HR rep or, the interviewer, they'll bring up your salary eventually. And if not, then that's something you can ask about, maybe at the end. Because if you bring that up, right off the bat, then it makes it seem like you're just applying to this job for the money and like you're not interested in it. And they want someone that wants to gain that experience, that wants to, learn at this new job and that's going to bring something. And then last I have don't act desperate. So you don't you don't want to be begging them for this job. You don't want it to seem like this is the only, option that you have for a job because well for one then that's going to, maybe scare them and be like, they're going to be like why is this your only option? And then also you don't want to be too emotional one way or the other because, that's unnerving. You want to give enough interest in the job, just enough and, appropriately and not too much one way or the other. But yeah, so just all these things can be fixed with preparation and just confidence to, make you be ready for a good interview. So, and this is my works cited. I got my articles from Indeed.com and then Media Bistro, and that's it. Thank you. Any questions?
No questions.
All right, thank you. So next is Bill. And
Thank you, Alexis. Appreciate that. Share out my screen. Okay, I will be talking about soft skills versus hard skills. What are they? Why are they important? So let's go ahead and start talking about soft skills. Basically, what are soft skills? Couple things. There are skills that we use in business every day, and they're difficult to measure, right? They're more of what we call interpersonal skills, which all of us use to allow for cooperation and collaboration with others in the workplace. Things like emotional intelligence, your creativity, the ability to be adaptable, right? That's a soft skill that we always try to have available inside of the workplace. And sometimes these skills are referred to as people skills. So why are these skills important? Well, soft skills lend themselves to your growth in your career, right? Specifically to get to leadership. That's having soft skills in a leadership role is important because you need to be able to work with lots of different kinds of people, lots of different kinds of personalities at any given time. The other thing is that it helps you in team building, right? Again, going back to those leadership skills, you want to be able to work with people closely and be able to build strong relationships that are promoting your team and growing that. Another important piece is that your soft skills can actually indicate longevity within a company. So as you're interviewing, as we had just talked with Alexis about what not to do, What you can do is demonstrate soft skills to help lend yourself to getting that job, to promote longevity inside of that company, right? So employers are always looking for people that want to stay, as that's a cost for them to train and bring you up into the environment. It also helps you maintain relationships, as we discussed, about team building, career growth, and leadership. And in fact, several research studies from Harvard and Carnegie Mellon and Stanford concluded that 85% of your job success comes from having well-developed soft skills. So contrast that to the hard skills. Hard skills are much easier to quantify and measure. They're more tangible. They're typically something that we've trained for inside of the work environment. So for example, if you're a programmer, you've probably trained in some kind of programming language like C# or Python. Or if you're in sales, you've probably gone through several sales courses for training on how to sell better and more effectively. Things like bookkeeping, and then even application products like MS Office. These are what we call the technical skills. So if we contrast the two, what does this look like? Soft skills cannot be taught, as we've already said. Hard skills can be trained for. There's a difference there. Soft skills are definitely more difficult to measure than hard skills, but both are vital for career growth, and both should be highlighted equally on your resume. And that concludes my presentation. Next, we'll be talking with Nick, who will be presenting on ways to give good impressions in an interview.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So my name's Nick Chahaki, and I'll be talking about tips to making a good impression in an interview. And during my research, I've divided the interview process into three kind of categories here. The initial impression, the interview or the Q&A session, and then the closing. So during the initial impression, you want to make sure that you arrive early to the interview. You want to make sure that you come prepared with possibly some copies of your resume and maybe some samples of your work. And you also want to show up in a professional appearance, business attire with minimal jewelry. And then you also want to show up very confident. You want to make sure that you make direct eye contact. You want to smile a lot, have proper posture. And then you also want to be respectful and only take a seat when offered a seat or after the interviewer sits down. And then the last thing is also, if offered a handshake, you want to make sure that you give a firm handshake, but not an overbearing grip. So the next section of the interview here will be the actual interview, the conversation, or the Q&A session, as I'm calling it. And during that, you want to make sure that you let the interview lead the conversation, let the interviewer lead the conversation. You want to make sure that you don't interrupt them while they're asking their questions. And you want to make sure you're actively listening and paying attention to what they're saying. You want to make sure to look for any nonverbal feedback they give, such as head nods or smiles, to make sure that they understand the conversation and it's going well. And then you also want to practice and you want to come prepared. You want to make sure that you research the company you're applying for. You want to make sure that you come up with some questions to ask the interviewer about the company. And then you also want to come up with some answers to some possible questions that they may ask you, such as strengths, weaknesses, challenges you face throughout your career, future plans. And you want to make sure that your answers are not simple yes or no answers. You want to provide a little bit of detail, but you don't want to be overbearing and ramble on. And then the last part of the interview here is the close. You want to make sure that you run through and clarify any answers that you think you might have answered poorly. You want to express your interest and your fit for the company. And then you want to show your appreciation to the interviewer for taking the time to do the interview. And then in conclusion here, as we said, you want to make sure that you plan and prepare, research the company. You want to make sure that you plan for questions they may ask you, and also come prepared with questions to ask the interviewer. And then you want to make sure that you listen actively, don't interrupt the interviewer. And lastly, you want to respect and appreciate them, thank them for their time, and keep direct eye contact and smile and provide good posture. So this is my works cited page here. And then that's the end of my presentation. And next we'll have Nicole talking about problem solving skills.
Hi, my name is Nicole Cadilli, and I picked topic number 5, which is good problem-solving skills. Now, a definition on good problem-solving skills is the ability to identify a problem, brainstorm, and analyze the answers. And you have to implement the best solutions to the problem that will help you achieve your goal. Now, there are steps for a good problem-solving skill action, and the first step is to analyze the problem. You have to determine what the problem is during your job or school or whatever it may be. The second thing you have to do is generate a solution. You could generate many different solutions to determine which one is the right one for you that will help exceed the company or the school. Then you have to pick one solution that is better than the rest of them to achieve your goal. You have to implement your solution to your problem, and then you have to evaluate if this was the right choice for you. Now, there's also a problem. If you don't have good problem-solving skills, there will be miscommunication with other people and a lot of misunderstanding. And it will get very confusing at times because you won't know what the resolution or what you can input into a problem that will make it better. Now, some examples on problem-solving skills include handling and resolving an issue with a coworker, correcting a mistake at work or school. It could be a small mistake or even a big mistake. Any mistake needs a problem-solving skill. This could also boost a company or a team by improving ways of communication. If you have a way to help an advertisement or help a community or a business, then you have to talk with your fellow peers or whoever you are with to make a better solution. Now, when should you use problem-solving skills? You should use problem-solving skills basically every day of your life. You need to use problem-solving skills at work, even basic needs at home or at school, because with them you will achieve greater things and it will make you open your mind and see what is wrong and what is right. And that was my presentation.